Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What's up, it's our show. From other Millennial news podcasts,
Nope, I got nothing. What?
we have a Boomer and a Gen Zer, and not just any Boomer and Gen Zer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
Hi.
And my spawn, Sleet.
Apparently, I'm unique somehow.
You are. Asshole and Mr. X eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and Sleet and I are learning that's 4 unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. I'm super impressed they didn't interrupt my
See, I
opening
was
today.
thinking how good
Very
we were
happy.
being,
This
but
is
I can
very
tell you,
wonderful.
asshole took a breath.
Oh,
What happened?
You all do that just to annoy me, so I get it.
I
All
want
right.
to see if inspiration would strike.
Remember, today is Burn It Down Wednesday. Unfortunately, this news is slow. There's not too horribly much going on.
So it's leftover reasons why you absolutely should not stab your boss. Is that okay?
Are there leftover reasons for that?
Let's look around.
Okay.
All
Did
right,
something
so,
change?
I'm actually going to once again steal from a article that Boomer used for Burn It Down Wednesday. So when we get into that, we'll get into that.
Cool.
Let's dig right into our headlines. One victory.
Well, as you remember last night, Risen went over the incredibly convoluted and intentionally misleading wording of the Kansas amendment to take away abortion rights. Well, it appears that the people of Kansas saw through it, and they defeated it by a 60-40 margin.
Hell yeah.
So,
About where
Democrats,
national
we've
polling
got our
sits.
yeah.
I guess they're serious about that issue, and that is the most that's the most impressive thing I've seen. Is I've always wondered how soft that number was.
Yep.
Right? Is that a big enough? Cool. They care about it, and they've got opinions. Yeah, they're Americans.
Yeah.
Americans got opinions on all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
They know nothing of.
But that came right in on the
Yeah.
polling. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the election polling. It came in on the, do you agree with the idiotic
American
decision?
Tallywacky.
Yeah. Or the kangaroo court.
Right?
Yep. So anyway, they're now in a race to outlaw the procedure, right, in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's banning the federal permission for abortion. And so you're going to see lots and lots and lots of abortion amendments on ballots and stuff like that and so on. So Democrats, here's one for surezies you can campaign on. So go get it.
Yeah, campaign hard on this because obviously even Republicans are all about this. And if your opponent is, anti-abortion, fucking rail on them for that.
And do not let the other idiots get any oars in the water pointed in other fucking directions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't talk about guns. Don't talk about the border. Talk about healthcare. Talk about minimum wage, and talk about abortions. That's your list. 3 fucking things, man. Don't fucking go outside the lines. This is not an outside the lines painting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have anything else to say on that?
Nope.
Okay. GOP supporters of Putin.
Oh, man, you gotta love it when the Republicans go to shooting at each other on the Senate floor,
Yeah.
right? So Tom Cotton took a, subtle shot? Not at all, at Josh Hawley, who Wednesday voted to oppose the inclusion of Finland and Sweden in NATO, which of course is what Putin wanted, how Putin wanted him to vote. So, here we have a wonderful, this is Holland Hawley, right? The one who ran away.
Yep.
Voting the straight Putin line.
Giraffe legs himself.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing to remember in international relations is that the Republican Party has decided to side with Putin,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
And Russia likes
They
the
want
Republicans
to
because they don't know
weaken
things.
NATO. So hey, that's not safe, and you see what Putin's doing, and but the Republicans are all in favor of it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, the good news is Tom Cotton shot at him. So
Yep.
Cool.
See where he goes with it.
Yeah.
and yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Someone should go through, right? There's a set of them. See what their funding looks like. Look for something weird.
Yep.
But
All right.
Yeah.
There should be consequences.
How much money
who
did
isn't
the
getting
Russians
in trouble?
give the NRA?
I don't
I
know.
know how much.
I do
what
know
we proved
they're-
is not a stunning number.
I do know that their contributions went from being measured in the 30s of millions
Yeah.
to being measured in single-digit millions.
Oh, makes you wonder. So, there should be consequences. So, Kristen Sinema, who I campaigned for
Yep.
and am incredibly embarrassed at having done
That's
that.
cool. We're gonna fix it.
Yeah, we are. So she has now, as this says, she's at the zenith of her influence. Yeah, because we're 50-50,
Yep.
right? But she has pissed off the liberals.
Bye-bye, Icarus.
Yep. And she's gone so far that she is in real danger in the 2024 Democratic primaries. So we shall see. Ruben Gallego
Yep. That's the one I was looking at.
says, she says, I think they support the president's agenda. I hope she will, and in the end, support the president's agenda and pass reconciliation and the Build Back Better agenda, right, which is what they're passing in reconciliation. But if not, he's tooling up to run against her.
Yep.
And I, for one, will
Yep.
campaign for him.
Oh yeah, I'll go knock on doors.
I'll
I gotta
knock
make
on
this
doors.
right.
I'll even make fucking phone calls.
Yep. Oh, God, I hate the phone calls.
Yeah. But I'll do it in primaries.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen Cinema, straighten up. Because either way, you're fucking gone. All right.
I don't think she's going to straighten up.
Literally why I voted for her. I thought having a bisexual Mormon would be fucking interesting. Turns out, not that interesting.
Well, interesting in all the wrong ways, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you can't forget the little curtsy when she voted no.
So we got a lot of stuff under our Just Fuck 'em headline tonight.
No.
Who's in trouble?
Not a good thing.
That's
So good old Ron DeSantis, right?
Yes.
He's willing to starve poor kids, right, and not get the money
Since
for
when
their
has he not been?
Yeah.
lunch.
He's a
and food.
mainline Republican.
Absolutely.
Tomato counts as a ketchup counts as a vegetable serving.
Yeah. Anyway, so the USDA has broadened its definition of things you have to do to include, protection of orientation and so on. And so Ron DeSantis is perfectly happy to turn down supplemental nutrition assistance program funds.
Cool. And
for
highway
school
funds.
lunches. Yeah, well, we should make sure that he doesn't get a chance to turn down the highway funds, just doesn't get offered any.
Yep.
So, again,
Because that will freak Florida out. Because, yeah, they got a bunch of real estate on that Gulf of Mexico, and they got a handful of ports, but all of their neighbors do too,
yep,
and will be happy to build whatever they're told by.
yep,
So,
yeah, just stop maintaining the interstates in Florida.
yep.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely insane, and another hit towards the LGBTQ community and
Because why
towards
Oh, shit.
people of color and such.
We should use cut and paste whatever we can out of their Hobby Lobby argument for why should the money that I want go to the things I don't like. And because that's government, shithead. That's literally how all
Yeah,
of it
that's how it
works.
works.
But so they've found a way around that. Cool. We should try and use the same.
I'm pretty
arguments.
sure we'll find out Florida is one of the taker states. We should stop that as soon as possible.
Yep.
So, and again, that's something that individual members of Congress can do something
I
about.
know.
So, anyway,
Down that path.
No, this is just disgusting and sick and twisted and wrong. Like, you're going to starve children because you don't agree with the fact that they call themselves one thing or another.
Yeah.
oh, it's not just them. They're starving all the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
period.
Okay.
No matter.
Punish the group
Yeah.
for the misdeeds of no one really.
Because we
Yeah.
can't vote. Why would they care for us from
Yeah.
a political perspective?
Oh Jesus, fuck no.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst thing possible. On the other hand, you guys don't
Yeah.
help the Tide Pod thing.
It's,
Fuck it.
it's part of
That's
the
never going
Republican-
away.
It's part of the Republican war on children
Yep.
and education. So, and
No,
they've been
this-
at war with them for years.
This is disgusting, and Florida's education system is getting all fucked up from all of this fucking anti-gay bill and shit. Like, it's not good.
Oh, do it, Swamp Witch.
I'm just disgusted, just completely disgusted by this whole scenario. Like, we're just gonna starve poor children. we're gonna pinpoint, you know, whatever, and this is just insane. And insanity in such an obvious way. I don't understand how anybody can agree with any of this.
Power. Naked execution of power.
Right. For DeSantis and for, you know, people
yes.
in power with him. I don't understand how the people underneath this aren't being like, what the fuck are you doing?
You know how you feel about people in traffic?
Sure.
That's how they feel all the time. All the time.
They just want to hurt somebody.
Yep. And just fuck them. And if they make a mistake, burn them to the ground.
I'm going to take the other side. And I know I don't do it very often, and I say cruel things.
Yeah, me
But-
too. Hey, I was starting to oppress them with robots. And, oh my God, it'd be easy. Fuck around and find
know.
out. Anyway,
And fun.
Again,
profitable.
but
huh?
one of the reasons they feel that way is because they have been hurt so often
Yes.
themselves. And
We
I understand that anger. And if you vote for Trump, it's going to get worse, you
Yeah.
turkeys. And if you
it's
look
just
at what
easier for them
Senator,
to
if you
chop
look
us
at
up.
what Senator Ron Johnson wants to do,
Yeah.
he wants to take away your Social Security and Medicare so he can give himself a tax cut.
If you really...
And if you don't understand, he's going to say, well, you know, we should evaluate every year. Evaluate means reduce,
Yep.
right? And if you think that you're going to get the lion's share of the what's left after reduction, you're a fool.
If you honestly think the problem with America is our polarized state or whatever, fine. Then how on earth can you square voting for such a polarizing figure?
Yeah.
We voted for Joe Biden, who's a fucking Republican from the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. We're not putting up AOC.
And he's trying to put
We're not.
trying to put stuff back together. And if you look at the Republican Party, it's gone the other way. They want a
Yeah,
civil war.
well, they know they can move the Overton window. They're not dumb.
So,
It's
anyway.
working for them. This has gotten them more yardage in the last 4 years than they got in 50
Yep.
before it.
Well,
And it's not. It's the last 20 years, right? It's the win at any cost from Bush forward.
yeah. Hey, Democrats, this is a voting block you lost by ignoring them, by going to the cool parties of the rich and famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can't fucking stop that and do something for working
Oh,
folks,
that's what I was going to say.
you deserve what a Republican House is going to do to you, and I swear to you they will. Every senior member of the Democratic Party will be the subject of hearings.
This is the downside of neither of you having lived in the South. Because it won't resonate as well with you. We locked them in with the bosses of the South, the motherfuckers who owned plantations.
Yep, still do.
I know.
Yeah.
And
No, I want to know what happened to the politicians that used to go to places to help poor people on the weekends and stuff.
retail politics died. It was all
Right. But what I'm saying is I remember watching videos of people going to soup kitchens and stuff like that and delivering, you know,
Yep.
food, meals with wheels or whatever they call it now. And you know,
irreparably
getting in there with the
disrupting
people.
the distribution of that night's food for a photo op. Yes.
They still do that.
Yeah.
But the thing you have to remember is that working folks don't give you any money.
Yep.
And that's why they don't care about working folks. is
They need to
because
raise
working
$10,000
folks
a week.
Haven't paid them to go and represent them in Congress.
We voted for
And the
it.
corporations have
But we voted
paid them.
Right, but we voted for it.
Turns out they do what they're paid to do.
Yeah.
I get that. My point is that I'd rather go back to
It
at
never
least
was
somewhat whatever.
No, there were some, but they were not. They were never common.
No,
Um,
that for sure.
This was the guaranteed outcome of having this big piles of money. Board money. It's part of the problem with the having switched everything over to the vendor and pros from Dover, professional political operative class.
Yep.
Because you know who will always push you to war crimes? Mercenaries.
Yep.
Because they're gonna die shitty no matter how
and they
this
get
goes.
a cut of it.
And if
What-
it goes bad, they can walk away.
What I really want are some real people who can get out there and who can understand that they were voted for by the people to do X, Y, and Z and just fucking do X, Y, and Z and have a no sale sign on them. That's what I want. I want to see not for sale sign on them.
Because-
I want them to be offered millions of dollars,
Yeah.
give them the finger and say,
Yeah.
this is not going to help my
The
constituents.
independently wealthy are anything but that.
Yep.
No, I understand that. And I get that's the problem is that this is what's going on in
Yeah.
politics today. But what I'm saying is I would like to see candidates
For sure.
actually
Yes.
be good
FDR
people.
was fucking dope.
Right, but to do that, you have to get the money out of politics.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to elect some people.
No,
And you can't elect
likely-
people who don't
some.
take corporate
yeah,
money.
you need to win the control of 34 states
Yeah.
and hold a continental Congress, which is the other crazy path. We can either win legislatively and other stuff, or we can meet them on the field of crazy and say, cool, it's a race to redefining the Constitution.
Yep.
And that's, again, probably not a great way to do this.
I don't think there is any best way really to approach this that's realistic.
Take a 60 vote majority and start running, right, hire real PR companies to explain your victories.
Yep.
And start making victories, but they're going to
But
have
to
to be
do
real
that,
ones.
you have to have money, which means
Yeah.
either the people have to donate in small amounts or corporations have to
Oh,
donate
their
in
great
big
pile
amounts.
of no money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, $1 billion is nothing to the corporations.
Yeah.
Right, that's pocket change.
Yep.
So, and we spend about $2 billion each cycle on presidential elections.
Yep.
All right. So we talked about Senator Ron Johnson. Do you have anything else to say on him?
No, but I'm going to go on to
The MAGA.
good old MAGA candidate Eric Greitens, who was stomped in Missouri's Republican Senate primary.
That's the crazy, crazy one, right?
That's the crazy, crazy one.
Okay.
The one that Trump said, I endorse Eric, and there were two Erics in the race, and
I couldn't possibly care.
He called both of them
Right.
and told both of them he was giving them
Who
the
gives a
endorsement.
shit?
The one that can fill a room with armed men. The one that actually has power. That the one? This is the former SEAL Team batshit. This is why we should review the SEALs and UDT program.
Among many
It
others.
isn't mentioned here, but you can look. Kansas City Star couldn't wait to dance on his grave. I said, no, you got it all wrong. You're going to pee on his political grave.
There you go.
But anyway, this is the one. He had huge name recognition and still got fucking stomped. Wasted everybody's time, wasted his donors' money. He's been accused of finance violations and paid a fine and signed a consent decree with the Ethics Commission.
Didn't he assault his wife and some shit too?
Yeah. Well, his former hairdresser credibly alleged he tied her up in his basement and
That's
forced
the one.
himself on her. And his
That's
ex-wife
fucked up.
testified under oath
That
that he
is super
physically
fucked up.
assaulted her and the children.
Oh.
And the children.
How can you run for candidate of anything after that sort of thing? I don't understand.
This is Eric, who's
he
his
got
shit?
defeated. Greetings.
Yes, this is the one. So yeah, aside from all of that fucking glory cake,
Yeah.
this Navy SEAL covered himself in. This was the one that did the rhino hunting ad. That even
Yes.
the fucking rhinos were
Absolutely.
like, "That's
That's
crazy."
too much.
It was one thing when we were pretending Sarah Palin wasn't dangerously crazy.
The funnier
Yeah.
part is, I'm pretty sure they were calling him a rhino now.
Yep. Too crazy for Missouri. Boy,
Jesus,
that's
that's
crazy.
something.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Yep.
So good job, Missouri. Way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I normally goof on you, and I've never had a bad time in Missouri. I went to one wedding there. It was perfectly fine. The hotel was nice.
All right. Boomer Rex is about damn time. Tell me the good news.
So, an Ohio man who clashed with Capitol Police and filmed Facebook Live video celebrating the violence has pled guilty to a charge of felony obstruction of an official proceeding. So, John Douglas Wright, 55, of Canton, Ohio, entered a plea deal that anticipates one of two federal sentencing guidelines, either a 15 to 21 or a 41 to 51. So,
It's gotta be
anyway,
months.
he's the one who ran the chartered bus company and filled two buses with insurrectionists
Absolutely.
and drove them to Washington.
Wow, I'm surprised he's getting that little.
So, well, he apparently not in real good physical shape. He was at one of the metal barriers contesting with federal law enforcement officers, which is a felony. They had an established perimeter and you broke.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I love it. We'll see what he gets. We'll report on it when he does.
Yep.
All right.
And how little time the organizers and, like, good people of the great and good get. Whether they're even fucking indicted.
Yeah.
Dumbass of the day. What's going on here?
Oh, God, you got to love what happened to Alex Jones
Oh
today.
my God, it was
This is great. Well, his
hysterical.
lawyers sent the contents of his phone to the other team in
To the prosecutor.
No.
to the
plaintiffs.
plaintiffs
Plaintiff.
To the
in
plaintiff's
the
lawyer.
civil
Yes.
suit.
Close.
And now the January 6th committee has
I
subpoenaed
keep forgetting it's
the contents of that phone,
good.
which are not in his possession.
Yep.
They're possessed by the plaintiff.
Yep.
So, anyway,
If I were the lawyer, I'd have stuck the knife in more by saying, we've got all your text messages and all the files that were on your phone.
yeah.
Oh, I love the way he surprised him with it because
Yeah.
he asked him a question, and when Alex lied, he said, "Oh, really? Have you ever seen this text message?
introduced
Whose
him to-
phone number is this? That's mine.
Yep.
Oh, oh,
love
so you did receive my text messages.
Yep. And it's the only, and that is the annoying part about this, is that Alex Jones's defense has played out exactly picture perfect of what you have to do. You can decide whether or not to lose the fight. The default judgment lets him say a nonsense statement every time it comes up, and that's all he needs, right? That's where these mushrooms grow.
Depends on how much money they take away from him.
Oh yeah,
So,
and whether or not they have a tort restriction and 12 other
And
things.
his
Yeah.
lawyer
It's
was
Texas.
his lawyer was all like $8. That's all
Yeah.
he should have to pay because it's not his fault.
But that explains a thing you and I had discussed, having watched him,
Yep.
was why is he always asking how much they've spent on therapy? So in his closing, he could point out that these are the kinds of things that get awarded
well, he
damages.
closed today
Yes,
Yes,
we watched.
we
and
watched.
said that the Sandy Hook families couldn't even spend all the money that they if
Raked
they
in.
were awarded it.
Yep.
Oh,
And then
and
he
then it would
closed
take them
with the-
thousands of years to earn it or something. Like,
Yeah, well,
that doesn't matter. Alex Jones has this money.
Yeah.
Like,
And did this thing to them.
yeah.
and then they closed with the first they came for the socialists.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. That was
hey,
sick.
Alex Jones, you're one of those who came for the socialists and who came for the unionists and who came for the Jews.
You're the
That's
tubby
who you
guy in a
are.
greatcoat in the middle of the thing shouting through a bullhorn, shithead.
Yeah.
Which again, that's the other tragedy of Alex Jones, is he cannot commit to that, because otherwise he'd have drifted much further right. It's
Yeah.
the trying to surf the middle thing that's going to be what killed him.
Yeah.
No, this is just funny, and I
Oh,
look
yeah.
forward to seeing how the jury. So we'll see.
I really hope it's literally the jury is like, all right, you may deliberate the verdict. They go out one door and right back in the other.
Oh, the funniest part was the Alex's lawyer. His whole closing argument was, "There's no evidence. They haven't shown you any evidence. Where was the evidence? There was absolutely no evidence." And I was like, "The whole thing was that. What are you talking
Well,
about?"
and they succeeded in showing him evidence from the day before, and his team is objected. Well, we had
We
no,
hadn't had a chance
we
to
had
watch
no
it yet.
discovery on this, and they said,
It
and you
just
wouldn't
happened.
expect to have it because it was from yesterday, and here it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
You
anyway,
can't control your client. The fuck?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm hoping beyond hope, because some of the questions from the juries led Axel and I to believe there was somebody who was obsessed with forgiveness. Just absolutely
Yeah,
obsessed
one of
with
those
forgiveness.
broken and damned.
And
do
there-
we know
There's definitely somebody who listens to Alex
many
Jones
civil
on it.
juries can reach a verdict on the
10
murder?
of them have to go.
Okay.
Of the
And we know at least two of them
are
because
iffy.
one of them I'm almost positive listens to Alex Jones already.
One of them has said globalist and referred
Yep.
to the Megyn Kelly thing as a hit piece.
Yep.
Which it was. So it's even got the same syntax you'd get out of stiff-necked right-winger.
Trumpista.
Or whatever gets one to Alex Jones, but yeah. The unthought.
I think that's crazier than most Trumpistas.
For sure. And as Risen was saying, another one who's just, the lost and the damned who are into forgiveness and closure and the blather.
Don't you think forgiveness would be better than money? That sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think we should just give them the money because they've already gone through so much shit because of
The fact that Alex Jones refuses to stop, even on the stand, he couldn't shut up. He
Yep.
kept spouting his nonsense.
At the end of the fucking trial the other day.
Yesterday, he was
fucking-
He was selling his fucking shit online yesterday on the
Plugging
screen.
stuff on the stand.
Yeah, on the stand. He was plugging his wares, and today he did it again. He was talking about his food, the dry food or whatever that he has. And
At the
it
end
was
of the fucking
ridiculous.
trial, he was saying, "I'm sorry you've been indoctrinated" or whatever other shit.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Yep.
while shaking the hands of the woman whose life he probably ruined.
Or did ruin, yeah. Evidence, the court has already ruled that, yeah, he fucked them.
I'm saying probably in the curiosity of whether or not they recover from this.
Fair.
The outcome of this trial determines whether her life is ruined.
Well, remember that part of it was the people that he incited were threatening to kill them and coming to their houses.
Which was the thing that they should have addressed with some of the training for either of the parents they had, or either of the parents I saw testifying about. I have no idea about forgiveness because he hasn't stopped injuring me yet.
Oh, I like that.
Because then you get to, right, he still talks about it.
Yeah.
Like, of not long ago.
He won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
All right.
He's digging himself a deeper grave,
Oh.
and I sincerely hope
I
he
have
puts
been on
himself
military juries where we convicted people before we got sat down at the table
Yep.
and then ordered coffee and donuts. So,
Yep, that's the thing against Sleet's argument, because again, I love the idea. It's actually appealable if they aren't gone for a reasonable amount of time.
okay. Well, we were gone for a reasonable amount
For
of time.
damn
We had
sure.
donuts and coffee.
And this.
It was an
jury-
open
Fuck
and shut
around
case.
and screw this up,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of reasons to overturn the shit out of this. Right, there's a lot of media money that could be concerned about this and where it goes from here, and so I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to walls are closing in.
Phrases.
So, former Trump White House counsel Pat Cipollone was subpoenaed by a federal grand jury investigating the efforts of Donald Trump supporters to overturn the 2020 election.
Yep.
So, this is one, I don't think he has any personal liability in this. I think he tried to do his job.
We can certainly remove his
So,
personal liability,
That's right. Bring him in, offer him
Yep.
immunity,
and then he has
and
no
then,
fifth.
then
root.
he has to answer. And if he doesn't answer, he can be put in a jail cell until he does.
For
That's how
up
grand
to
juries
2
work.
years or
I
something.
wonder if that's
Yeah.
why Ginny Thomas and the other one do it that way.
Hmm.
Because you can't compel them to testify against each other, even with immunity.
Agreed.
All
But
right.
Cipollone was not married.
Oh yeah, no,
So,
aha, we find out. Do it. Get some real fucking General Hospital shit up in here.
I
Evil
think
twins.
Putin might be able to use that defense.
Fair.
So, because clearly Donnie was his boy. Alrighty. Let's see.
We moving on?
Yes.
Okay. Attack.
So, Republican strategist Stuart Stevens on Wednesday implored the Democrats to go on offense ahead of the midterm elections.
Throw a punch one time.
He says the Republicans have given him plenty of ammunition to work with, right? We've got the abortion issue. We've got all the rest of this just pervasive criminality. And it's time to throw some punches on national TV. Come on, Democrats, wake the hell up.
Yeah. You ain't
If
gonna
you think
fucking win
America's
this shit
bad
lying
now,
down.
do you think hiring the criminals to run the government that oversees the criminals is going to make it better?
Oh, wow, they're cracking down on criminals.
Right,
That
well,
was
and they have
funny.
assuming they can get the Build Back Better through in reconciliation,
Yeah.
they actually have a decent record of legislation to run on, and in every turn they can point to the fact
Pity about that.
that they have a governing party that has been opposed by the Republicans at every turn. And so you've got a governing party against a party that's obsessed with bedrooms and bathrooms.
Yep. There
Right.
you go. Hit them on that.
Right,
Make
you
them the
can
sex
win this
police.
one.
Yeah.
I love that, obsessed with bedrooms and
Yep,
bathrooms.
no, it's a
I'm
good
going to
line.
use
I
that
like
a
that.
lot in the next 3 weeks. So anyway, he says go out and take it. Say it's likely to be a rough year for the Democrats. Yeah. So what is the problem with throwing a punch? What have you got to lose?
Politics is
Go down
actually, after all, a
swinging.
popularity contest.
Yes.
Not about being the smartest kid in the room, Democrats. I mean, hey, that'll help, but
Yep.
All right.
use some of that smarts to talk to people.
Voters mean nothing to the grand old Trump party.
Can confirm.
So, right, we have the obvious record from Kansas that says, folks don't want to lose their right to an abortion. And you have the Trumpistas talking about passing a national anti-abortion law and so forth. I mean, again, They don't care what the majority of Americans want. They just want to punish some people.
Yeah.
Right? They are the party of that
Yeah.
wants to
Their policies won't make
legislate
it
your
the 50s
bedroom and
again.
your bathroom. Screw them.
No, the policies they talk about won't make it the 50s again. If that's the goal, then do that.
Yeah.
Hell, you might even be able to sell me on some of that if you
Yeah.
address some of the, glaring fuck-off problems of the 50s.
Yeah. So anyway, and again, they're putting doctors in just an impossible position, right?
No, they're
I
not.
think doctors need to start making decisions
Doctors
that get
swore
them
an
put
oath.
in jail.
Yeah.
They treat the patient.
Yep.
They work for the patient.
They're supposed to.
So, yeah, it was absolutely whatever. They're the ones that write it down. They don't get to do it both ways, because every good doctor I've known, this wasn't a question, right? Give a terminal patient enough drugs to shuffle off anytime they like.
Yep.
It's up to them. They're dying. No science of man
Yeah.
is going to fix that. So unless you got an angel in your back pocket, fuck off.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. Absolutely. No fetal heartbeat. If you need to clear the room or whatever, the megalomaniacal batshittery we allow amongst the fucking sawbones comes at a cost. And this is that, right? You get to drive the nice cars and the other shitty garbage things you do.
Now you got to stand up for your patient.
Or fuck around and you can be in cages in the apocalypse, because anything else you think is going to happen isn't. I'm going to see to it.
All right. Updates with BoomerRex health threat.
I bet I can talk Hell's Angels into bring me some fuckers in cages, and I'll give you some of the go-go fuel.
Right.
All right.
I'll build a back-end refinery. I don't fucking care.
So the health threat tonight, and this is one where it's, are you looking at a symptom or are you looking at a disease? But it turns out that folks who take beta blockers and that sort of medication and so forth are far more susceptible to death from heat. And, whether, the fact that they take the beta blockers just identifies them as being somebody with coronary artery disease, who knows? Right.
We're finding loads of symptoms stacked up on the thing, but...
Yep. So, anyway, the hot weather is going to hurt some very particular people very soon.
Yeah.
And it isn't going to stop. It's going to get worse.
That's fine. If you live in a low-tax state, I'm sure your inadequate government services for shit going normally badly will perfectly
Well, yeah.
expand to encapsulate your, oh shit, it's bad. Just ask Kentucky.
Oh, wait, some of those red states they turn off people's electricity even when they use oxygen concentrators and stuff like that.
Yep.
I said, wow, yeah.
Well, what
No,
right
what the
does-
hell? It's low tax state, no
Yep.
problem, and
Don't
the
want the-
bosses are in charge. And
Don't want governments
what the
getting in
hell
the
have
way
you done?
of businesses
That's
and their
right.
customers.
Yeah. So again, these are going to become more important as the world gets hotter. And if you don't think the world's getting hotter, well, you're an idiot.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
Well, we were discussing yesterday about, the nonsense trite garbage about there's no such thing as stupid questions, and there are. Shut up.
yes.
Or, hold on, I'll take it the other way. There aren't. There are, however, dumb
Stupid
people. And if you ask a collection of stupid people questions, you might want to take just a couple of turns to evaluate if you're a stupid person. And that's fine. Don't worry about it. I got a plan. You're going to need to step to the sideline and be helpful, but we're not going to be bad to the dum-dums. Like, come on, dum-dums, let's go. It's fine. I'm sure there's something you're interested in.
Yep.
Just, you're not allowed to talk to me about it till we're done fixing some of the shit that might kill everybody.
Fair.
And so as long as we're talking about heat, we'll just go right into climate weirding. So last month's heat waves broke dozens of high temperature records across the country, with 43 locations setting or tying their hottest July on record. So anyway, this is going to be every year, folks. So anyway, it's already the nation's leading weather-related killer. So, hey, it's just going to keep going. But you got to look at the list. Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, the Carolinas.
I am living out Robert Frost's Fire and Ice. Pissing
Yeah.
me off. Like, comment, subscribe, and send me $1 for the airship, the internet. I need an airship for the apocalypse. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
I promise. You'll like
And
it.
we can get higher, and it's cooler up high.
Yeah.
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 We'll even invite critical...
Yeah, Patreons. You guys can totally ride in the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my intent.
Yeah. We're going to share.
Take regular rides with people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, that wraps it up.
Yeah.
All right. We weren't going to talk about Kansas? No.
Sure.
I think Kentucky, but
Oh,
I'm
is
handing
the
it back to
Kentucky-
you.
I don't know. Anyway, they had 1,000-year weather events a couple of days apart from each other, which, unless I'm really wrong, like, I mean, I'm dumb,
That's
but
not supposed to happen.
yeah, I don't think 1,000 years happened in 72 hours.
No.
No.
Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they had, like, some sort of weird leap, whatever.
No,
Yep.
but the interesting thing that I wanted to discuss in this particular thing is that because
yes.
of these two
Yep.
1,000-year weather events that have
Yeah.
suddenly happened back to back within 72 hours, this asshole said of each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're having issues with, of course, the vultures coming in and going through and literally just robbing people. Now, this is already a poor county, so people have already lost a bunch of stuff that got washed away in the floods, and now there's people coming in and stealing whatever they have left.
Yeah.
So people are staying in houses without power and in bad conditions and in the heat and the whatever, to try to protect their homes from people who are trying to come and steal their shit. So this is just another thing that's going to be happening more and more frequently with climate weirding.
Not
Yeah.
sound
So-
like some kind of weird dystopian future
Yeah.
already? Oh no.
Well, this was already an established business.
Yep.
Right? There are people who have what look like legitimate moving trucks, right, with the standard logos and everything,
Will come in
who
and
go
look like
in
they're
after
moving stuff.
hurricanes, back up to people's houses and empty the house.
Right, and these are professional looters, basically, who keep an eye on this sort of stuff and swoop in. They tend to not live in the area. They come from outside, and, they just swoop in and they just empty
stuff in
entire houses and, apartments and stuff. And so this is something that we are going to see as we have more severe storms.
Yeah. Anybody got
Congratulations.
a disabled vehicle? Because a lot of what I'm finding, and again, this is my first article for prioritizing looters. Because like stealing gas out of a vehicle, that's your neighbors.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Steve.
A shit
Well,
ton
and
of,
I don't even, if they don't break the vehicle,
yeah,
right, if I'm not there,
I don't care.
I would be happy to give them the gas.
Well, and
If
that's
you
part
get
of
it
my
out,
concern
take it.
is we always do this, and part of this is to amp up the concerns.
Yeah.
Because oh my God, crime! It's coming for you tonight.
The article I read said that people are backing up into people's front yards and stuff with cars. They're just going in, they're just emptying everything into the car and then just driving away.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Congratulations, because we failed to look at climate change as a genuine threat. Now we're going to descend into a dystopia.
Yeah,
and
no.
managed to
Yeah.
reverse it.
I just
Well, we
wanted
ain't even started yet.
I just wanted to point out that yes, looting is a thing that happens after big storms. My
Yeah.
point is that the climate weirding is
It's
going to
making
cause
them
more.
more common. Yeah, it's a growth industry.
Yeah, so
Climate
looting
and capitalist
is
weirding.
not going to go down. It's only going to go up as this continues. So keep that in mind as you continue to pollute the air and do your dumb shit and
So while we're
vote for
on climate,
people who aren't going to help.
while we're on climate weirding, we should point out that because of the dust blowing out of Africa, we've had a very tame, as in none, hurricane season so far this year. Meanwhile, the Gulf has been warming this whole time.
Yep.
So the Gulf is now even crazier out of balance. And when you do get a hurricane into the Gulf, it's going to be a bad one.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad, like you said. As soon as this dust stops, as soon as the air stops being dry, as soon as it starts to
Yeah.
moisten out again, that's when these problems are going to happen.
Yep.
I think we're going to see some pretty crazy out of time frame. So outside of hurricane season,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
no,
we're going to
absolutely
start
possible.
seeing activity in kind of like up north,
With
right?
the shark activity.
In the Northeast, there's been a lot of uptick in oddly timed winter storms, out of season storms, and that sort of thing. I feel like we're going to start seeing that in the Gulf Coast and such as well.
Yeah, no, we've got out of season sharks all
Mm-hmm.
up and down the East Coast, right? Because the warmer water gave us little bait fish,
Brought
and
up
they
the
eat
fish,
the little
yep.
bait fish, and turns out they eat whatever's in the stream,
With the bait fish. Yeah.
right?
So,
Or a sample. They
this
don't
is
actually
just
eat.
this is just another thing that I wanted to tack on to the what's happening with climate weirding, because
Yep.
it truly is going to continue to be a problem.
So keep that in mind.
It's gonna get
vote-
worse.
Vote
Period. End of
accordingly.
story.
And by vote accordingly, I mean Democrat, because Republicans don't give a fuck about this.
They don't believe it exists still.
Some
A
of
lot
them.
of them are still trying to argue.
The problem is that some of them truly, because of the crazies that we've currently had running and getting elected,
And
some of them probably do truly not believe in it. But I believe the majority of them, the majority of them do believe in it, and they just are getting enough money from oil companies and other such companies to lower their regulations and do all these things to make these companies' lives easier. Deregulation is not your friend, folks. Remember that. Deregulation leads to, candy made of arsenic.
Regulations are there for a reason. Shitheads, stop removing them.
Yeah.
Milk filled with poop. That sort of shit. Where you're getting more maggots than milk. That's the kind of thing that deregulation leads to. Do your research. Look at the past. Look at how it was before regulations came in. And I promise you,
people died of the random shit you would be able to get.
I promise you, if you do even just a smidgen of research of how it used to be before we started regulating the dairy and the candy and the food and such, you will throw up.
Look at
And
some of the reasons
keep
the
in mind-
FDA exists, and you'll realize companies don't give an actual fuck. They
Nope.
do
Nope.
not give
And
a
never
flying
have.
fuck.
And they're not going to now.
No.
They never will.
So
they never
we
have and
need-
never will. They're
we-
always against.
We need to vote for people who do give a fuck and who are going to keep this under control. Democrat straight vote
Take it
ticket.
under control again. It's lost control.
If you do not like anybody on the ballot, run yourself. Do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you. And again, you've seen some of the idiots that are running right now and that are being elected. You're smarter than them. Fucking do your thing. I believe in you. All right. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Smash that like button on YouTube. Go to BoomerRexTonight. No spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerX or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight. And if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. We love you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for more BoomerRexTonight.
Good night, y'all.